Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Excuse me. Welcome to the, what are we, the 27th of April episode? 27th of April episode of the Beard Lights and Bushcraft live stream. Again, still not on the beer yet. So I've still got a beverage, but not a beer tonight. So first off, I want to say hi to the people who are hanging out already. We got Mallory from Quebec Homestead. How's it going? Nice to see you, Mal. Excuse me. We got Grace Martin. Why am I suddenly coughing? I was fine before I started the camera. Water, nectar of the gods, bringer of life. So I guess before we go any further, I just want to do the usual housekeeping. If you're watching us, watching me or us, whatevs, time shifted, thank you very much. Thank you for spending your time with me in the future. So I actually have a subject that I want to talk about tonight. I know that lately I've been a little light on the subject matter. I've been sort of coming on and saying, okay, who's got something to talk about? Well, I do have something I want to talk about tonight, and I think it's going to be pretty cool because it's something that everyone who sits by a campfire ever knows something about. So what we're talking about tonight is, what do you do when you're sitting at the campfire? Not when you've just set it, not when it's warming up, burning up in prep for your supper or any of that. No. What do you do when you've built your shelter or pitched your tent, whatever it is? You've found the firewood for the day. You've made your nightly food. You've eaten it. You've done the cleanup. You've done all the whittling and chopping and sawing and anything like that you have to do. Maybe you've prepared your, I don't know if you've taken off your boots already or whatever it is you do up until downtime when you're out in the woods and it's just you and the fire. How do you come down off the day? What is it that you do when there's nothing left to do? How do you reward yourself for a good day of work? Are you someone who just sits there and stares into the fire? Do you bring a harmonica or a guitar along or something? Do you just like to commune with nature? Do you read a book? Do you stare at your phone? So yes, so that's what I want to know about. I'll be asking people who have something to say to, you can speak in the side chat, obviously. I'll invite people to come on, tell their story. You don't have to come on for the whole night. You can come on, tell your story, and take off. That's fine too. In fact, I've been slowly moving towards that kind of model for the last couple of months. But hey, that's neither here nor there. So that's what we're talking about tonight. And we will do our damnedest to stay on target. Whew, turn the heat on, and it's nice and warm in here finally. It's a little cold down here before. One of the benefits of doing this in a basement. So before we go any further, I will lubricate the evening a little. Oh, now that is a generous pour. Oh, smells so good. So what I'm having tonight is the Leipzig 10 single malt scotch. I don't know if I told you guys about this before, but this is a 10-year. But there was a like a localization error when they were doing the Canadian label. So there, which you can't see because my camera is not so great, is that right? Yeah, there it says 12 years. So who else is with us? Simon, comment ça va? Pine Martin's here. How's it going? Nice to see you, mister. So we got a nice little group so far. Yeah, and I'm going to drop the invite down there just to sort of start the night off right. You don't have to, if you're interested in coming on and talking about your your evening relaxation at the campfire, you don't have to come on right now. I'm just getting into the habit so that I don't forget about it. I was thinking about this, and the reason I wanted to talk about it is because, I don't know, I was scrolling through the Instagrams, and there's always a lot of photos of like fire at night, like a close up on the fire, flames, darkness, blah blah blah. But you don't always get a sense of what the person is doing at night by their campfire. And I'm someone who always brings books. When I go to the woods, I always bring a book. I always have like a pack of cards. Like if I'm, excuse me, well, that's gonna get tonight's gonna be awkward if that doesn't go away. If I'm camping at like, especially if we're car camping and there's a picnic table at the campsite, it's good to have these. If it's not a windy night, I'll just play a few rounds of solitaire. I'm enchanted by the fact that when I'm playing solitaire, I'm so good at cards I can play against myself and still lose. But I always like to have a pack of cards with me. I really do. There's all kinds of possibilities there. But if I'm not car camping or glamping with the family and there's no picnic table or anything, these will probably just, I mean, they're in my bag anyway, and they'll probably stay there. I usually have a book. In fact, here it is. Oh no, I went off screen. I've been rereading this. This is an old copy of this book. I think this is from 2007. I was taking a doctor-prescribed walk today, and I took this book and sat down on the steps of a church. Yeah, 2007, second printing. Just started flipping through it again. So I'll always bring books, and sometimes I'll read a little bit, but really often I'll just zone right into the fire. I can light a fire and kick back to relax, usually with a beer. And I'll just glance at the fire. Next thing I know, it's 2 hours later. I find fires absolutely magical. They're excellent for bringing a sense of place to the spot where you're camping. Like it creates a center for you to I guess rally around or to be in orbit of at your campsite. The way I find if I don't have a fire, it feels a little more temporary, like I'm just there for an hour kind of thing. Excuse me. Like I don't whittle, for me, once the sun goes down, or I'm tired, or I've got some booze out, blades are nowhere near. Everything's put away. So I don't sit there and like carve spoons, late into the night, because I feel that's dangerous, and I don't want something to happen while I'm out in the woods, all by myself. And for this conversation, I wanted something peaty and smoky to drink. And there's a campfire aspect to this, like a charred meat thing happening at the back. Oh, it's delicious. I'm not going to bottle down tonight. I mean, I've still got enough for like 5 drams in there, but it's getting down to the point where I have to think about getting another bottle. So yeah, like I'll just hunker down, wrap a blanket around me or something, and enjoy the fire. I also spend a lot of time looking up. If it's a clear night, enchanting. Oh, excuse me. I was talking to Martin this week and mentioning how well, actually, I'll just riff off of that. If I got in the math, I think I would have loved to have been an astronomer, but I used to be a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, and I've got I have a 9-inch telescope somewhere in this house, and I used to spend a lot of time looking up. Not since having kids, because it takes forever to set up a telescope of that size and have the computer to whatevs. But if I'm sitting in a dark sky area, I'll just spend the whole night gazing up, or and sometimes gazing into the fire. Fire's going down, so I'll throw some wood on. I like the process of bringing a fire to life and then just keeping it alive for a long, long time. Sometimes you have to add some wood. Sometimes all you really have to do is prod it, bring it up a little bit more. I'm always a little regretful when I realize that I really do have to go to sleep, leave the fire behind, or kick it down a bit. Oh, hold on. I'm realizing that I'm ignoring people are coming through. And oh yeah, Martin's got that book. Do you have the same edition, Martin, or is yours a later one? I found that the design on it is much, much better now. My copy looks really dated, but it's still. I like this book. I think this is a really good source book for people who are, especially people who are just starting out on camping with a family or with pets. How to de-skunk your dog. Mallory says, I drink beer, listen to music, sing, and feed the fire. Pretty much it. Hike with Mike in the house. How's it going? It is a, what's it called? Oh, what the hell is it called? What's it called? Give me a second. I'll tell you, hold on. Maybe I have to block the camera. Who's coming down the stairs? Oh, hi. Take a what? How's that? Yes. Get out of here. That kid should be in bed. Just let me look it up. It's a, I don't bloody remember the word for it. It's a Casgrain, Schmidt Casgrain, I think. You see, now I'm all interested. I'm going to look it up. You know what I'll do, Martin? I'll look it up after we're done here, and I'll drop you a note tomorrow. It's a very nice telescope. It's got the automatic equatorial mount. That anyway. Tenenbaum says I'm going to go with telling stories by the fire. That's a really good pastime. If I'm with my family, we'll sometimes do that for sure. Mal's doing a little testing, so she won't hop on. That's all right. That's okay. Hike with Mike says, I like the process of setting up camp, collecting firewood and sawing firewood and starting a flint and steel fire, writing down ideas that come to me in the solitude of the woods and night hikes. All right. That's legit as well. I like you. I like a lot of the busy work. Oh, man, that's a good drink. Holy crap. That's a real sleeper hit. When I picked up this bottle, someone had told me that I would like it. And they were really right. I'm a peat head. I like smoky, peaty drinks. Where was I? Yeah, I like the busy work. I like chopping the wood. I like sawing. I like whittling down some tinder and some kindling and some, gathering materials. But man, there's a real moment of magic when you sit down and realize there's nothing else to do tonight except relax. I love it. And one thing I do try not to do at that point is pick up the phone. I feel that, the best way to break the magic of the moment is to, look at my phone. So yeah. Mallory is saying hi to Camille. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a reflector. It's got a big honking mirror at the back, a little mirror at the front. Yeah. Big honking mirror at the back and a little one at the front, and into the eyepiece comes off the back. Simone Tenenbaum have to talk over the next few days. That's all right. So I guess that's kind of me, you know. I'm very into just watching the fire, listening to the sounds of nature around me, and how one thing I find really, really interesting is that the smell of the forest comes alive after dark. Like, I don't know if it's, you know, when it cools off, maybe there's a bit of moisture in the air or something that wasn't there under the, you know, under the baking heat of the summer sun kind of thing. But like, it's not petrichor, right? It doesn't go all the way to petrichor, but it smells more lush. The lushness of the forest or the shoreline or whatever comes alive after dark. And I like that too. I'm much... Oh, I thought she was coming down the stairs again. I was like, I'm very into that. To me, the forest is a central experience. All the senses are just engaged. So I don't really have to do much to be happy to be there, you know? There's an excitement of, you know, paddling along the shore or, you know, across a lake or something, or hiking and exploring. I mean, I get the fizz from picking up an axe and, you know, taking the cover off and that we're going to do some business. But the contentment that happens after everything is done and I'm just kicking back with a little whiskey or a little beer, you know, or a marshmallow or something, that's a great moment. I'm going to drop the invite down there again, just in case someone wants to come on briefly and tell me what they think is the best way to spend that campsite night, that campsite time. I'm just going to mute myself. I don't know why I'm coughing so much tonight. Just taking a look. Seeing if I'm missing. Yeah, what Grace says, that her phone doesn't get a signal, and that is a real benefit. Granted, if you have any video games on your phone, it can still be a danger, you know. Hike says the phone stays off most of the time when I'm out in the backcountry. I turn it on every couple hours to see if there's some sort of issue going on back home. I like to keep it on. I like to be in contact. Maybe I won't feel that way as much when the kids are older, but if I'm somewhere where there's no signal, the phone's off unless I'm filming something, just so I can, you know, conserve battery. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Man, I was fine until I sat down and turned on the camera. I don't know what's going on now. I'm all coughing and yawning. Jeez. Yeah, I like what Hike says. The worst part of camping in the backcountry is leaving. I agree completely. That's a great statement. I guess saying that I might be dealing with pollen. I do have a hay fever problem. We've noticed that Clemence, unfortunately, is also developing a hay fever problem, which at the ripe old age of like, what, 2 and 4 months is a really rough burden for her to carry on her little shoulders, let me tell you. But anyway. Hey, Alain. How's it going? Nice to see you. One day when this COVID thing leaves us alone, we got to get together and shoot another knife video. Had I had my shot yet when we had this last live stream? No. Between last live stream and this live stream, I I got my first shot of the vaccination, which was great for about 6 hours, and then it just curb stomped me. It's boom, shaking, couldn't type messages out because I couldn't hit the buttons, dropping my phone, dropping my my fork at supper time. I dropped everything I was carrying because the shakes were so rough. And I, cold shakes, and I just gave up and went to bed. Tunneled under a ginormous pile of blankets while my wife just kept throwing blankets on me. Sweat it out, kind of thing. Next morning, I woke up. I was hot, but it was just because of the blankets. I think I had this wicked case of flu-like symptoms, and then by about the next day or something, I was back to pretty okay. I was all right. No regrets, anyways. I think it's worth it. But anyway, so I don't know why I was talking about that. Oh yeah, because of what Hike said about about the pollen, and it might be. I don't know how I ended up on that. Anyways, whatevs. Moving right along. Brandon, hey. I usually get lost in the flames, but I also love going down by the shore, away from the fire, and listening to the silence of the lake and looking up at the stars. Yes, sir. Again, you say something that tells me we're the same person in two different bodies. How's it going, Russell? Hey, Bubbles. How's it going, Bubbles? Do you see what we're talking about tonight? Simo says, here's, I received my first shot last week. About 20 hours later, I felt my entire body was sore instantly. It lasted about 24 hours. Yeah, man, I was just wrecked. But then I bounced back, because you do. It doesn't, these shots don't kill you. They just sort of put you down for a while. Such an amazing drink. Imagine a world with no whiskey. That'd be sad. So yeah, Tenenbaum says that he likes to tell stories around the fire. But okay, so Tenenbaum, what do you do if you're solo though? Because if you're telling stories around the fire when you're still solo, then I might not feel that it was so safe for me to go and meet you in Ottawa last year. No, but seriously, like, what do you do if you're like on a solo canoe trip or something and you're just kicking back? Are you the type to read something, or are you sort of more the stare into the fire type? Hike says another cool thing about going out into the backcountry is trying out new gear you got. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Hey, Russell, speaking of new gear, has it arrived? Has it shipped yet? Russell is experiencing the magic of the Grumman shipping experience, which, but I'll remind you guys, is the shipping experience that made me cancel an order. Okay, Tenenbaum says, hopefully I have a book. Okay, so for those of you who read, and I do want you guys to sound off on this, in the side chat or come on. Is there if you're the reading type, is there a specific kind of book that you read? Are you like in the woods, so you have to be reading Walden or like, this or something? Or will you bring like a sci-fi book or a novel or Danielle Steele or, just some, to just bring books that you like? Or do you like to keep it within the motif of the overnighter or the week in the woods or whatever? Alain likes to sit, listen to the fire crack, and relax. And of course, focus on feeding the fire. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. The reason I keep putting the link to the chat inside down there is because if somebody pops up like 5 minutes after I've put the link, they might not see it. Hi, Nate. How's it going? Just give me a second here. That is so irritating. Russell, you canceled it last week. You just reordered it a couple of days ago, and it's not in stock. Is that because of the price change? Okay, so Pine Martin is the type who just brings whatever he's reading at home. I kind of bounce back and forth between the two. I read a lot of stuff like Walden or whatever, but excuse me, God damn it. What do you call that? Blasphemy. Sorry, folks. But my favorite author, maybe of all time, is like Umberto Eco. So I might bring something like that. Foucault's Pendulum, when I read it, when I was like, I don't know, 15 or something, pinned my ears back. And I was like, this guy knows writing. Of course, I don't read them in the original Italian, right? I read translations, but I could still see the power of the story and the characters, even though I was reading a translation. I also like guys like Guy Gavriel Kay. He's not really a fantasy writer. He's more like a speculative fiction writer. I'm very into him. I like some of the hard science kind of science fictions, guys like Greg Bear and stuff like that. But I find that if I bring a book that is camping or outdoors or something like that related, maybe a Nesmuk, or something like that, I'm more. I run a higher chance of reading it while I'm kicking back. But I'm not going to read in the pitch black, holding my phone there for a lighter or something, I've written a bunch of things sitting around. Hold on a second. I realize I'm sort of... Okay. Oh, Hike says he doesn't bring books, just a journal to write down your thoughts and the experience of the moment. That's legit, too. Mallory is shaking her bangs at Russell. Tenenbaum can be anything, usually a paperback novel. That way I don't feel too bad if it gets wet. Yeah. I'm one of them Philistines or whatever who I hate hardback books. I like paperbacks. I like anything bendy. I personally find that hardback books are... I have an aunt, bless her soul, who, when the latest whatever the word is for those books that sell, a bestseller comes out, she buys it in hardback. But it's like they're more display items than books, really. And so growing up around her, I have this association between hardbacks and just kind of wall hangers, And also I find that hardback book, especially like when I'm throwing it into my bag to read on the metro, or I'm, going camping or whatever, I don't need the packing unfriendly aspect of a hardback in my bag. They don't have the ones with the rosewood handles. I don't know why it's not in stock. They just called me the next day to ask if I wanted a different handle. So what did you say? Oh, hey, Dauber. By Martin says, hike with Mike. I bring a little notebook and a mechanical pencil and keep a journal of all I've seen down that day. Nice. That's the kind of thing that I want to do and never think to do. Mallory says, my campfires are at night and I will not read with a flashlight ever. Yeah, I don't like reading with a flashlight either. Yeah, Martin, I thought Name of the Rose was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I discovered it after Foucault's Pendulum. When I put two and two together and saw that it was Umberto Eco who wrote that, and I shouldn't have been surprised. I mean, if you look at the body of his work, I shouldn't have been surprised. But yeah, I thought Name of the Rose was a brilliant book. Wow, Hike with Mike does he's cataloging weather conditions and everything. Interesting. But Tenenbaum also loves Name of the Rose. Yeah, great book. Due to Mark Putman's, I began reading again Alfred Jarry. So is that what you read sitting around the fire? Wait, there's a new adaptation? With John Turturro as William at Baskerville? Is this on Netflix or something? Chris Garland, hi. Usually something on nature, history, or philosophy. I read a lot on nature and a lot on history. I don't really read a lot on philosophy, to be straight with you. I have read a lot on philosophy before. In fact, I was going to do an episode on this, but I'm blowing my wad here. To get into the program that I studied, I have a communications degree. I specialized in film production and script writing. But the entire communications industry, okay, plays, books, poems, songs, and like their descendants, right? Movies, TV. The underpinnings of the entire entertainment industry were written into Aristotle's Poetics. So to get into that program, and I got into the communications program at Concordia on my first try, which is, it's not unheard of, but it sure as hell ain't the way it usually goes. But I had to know that book back to front for the interview to get in. And I read it. And that was the first piece of philosophy I ever read. Okay. And so I wasn't used to it. But I could see why I had to know it just to start school. Because right from the get-go, everything in that program referred back to that book. Not like slavishly or slavishly, however you pronounce that word, pinning his name on Aristotle's name on everything. But obviously, everything is growing out of those concepts. The thing is, from the Poetics, you can start to build out. But after school, I didn't really stick with. I didn't want to become a philosophy student or anything. I had known a lot of philosophy students in school. A collection of that sort of the same as communications, whole gamut from brilliant, 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 friendly, extroverted, terrific people to kind of hermits. I haven't read a lot of communications theory since school either, though. A couple of the books I've gone back to. There was one book we had to read for one of my classes called The Design of Everyday Things. And I just reread. In fact, I bought the recent edition of that because it's updated for the internet age and everything. But like when I started working, I'm a guy who used to read at least a book a week. The way through high school, as a young kid, even younger than that, I was a very big reader. Not a big sports player. But when I started working in publishing, the reading I did on my own time, it just fell off a cliff, Just it wasn't as fun as it used to be. It's not escapism because I did a lot of reading for work. Really? I didn't know there was a change to the settings feature. It's only doing 720p. Yeah, you know what? That's StreamYard's fault because I'm not paying for StreamYard, so I'm locked at 720p. I wanted to pay for StreamYard so I could get 1080p, but it's like $30 a month, US. I'm not that monetized. Yeah, I messed around with OBS a lot as well. It's too much work. You know, I bought a stand for my DSLR and everything, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because with OBS Ninja, I think it's called, you can essentially have StreamYard in OBS. In fact, if you're setting up OBS, maybe I'll get back on it, and maybe at one point, one night, Mallory, we can see if we can get the StreamYard clone working as well. I love Bill Bryson. I haven't read that one though, so I will go and look for it this week. I read a lot of Bill Bryson though. Yeah, Hike with Mike. I don't go to the woods without my tree ID book. Well, without one of my tree ID books at the very least. I would really like to get into edibles ID, but that I'm not doing without like a lesson or an apprenticeship to someone or something. I'm not going to depend on a book for that. But yeah, sometimes I'll just flip through, see if, what was that tree I noticed earlier? Sometimes I'll take, a leaf or pins if it's a fir or something. They're not pins. What are they called? Needles? I like reading to candlelight. I like reading to even gaslight. You know, those like those lanterns that I grew up with, where you pump it and you can light it. I don't love reading to the light of a flashlight, but in the tent, I feel that a flashlight is the safer choice. Sorry, guys. Thanks for reminding us outdoor, because I constantly forget. I invite you to hit that thumbs up. Smash that thumbs up button, guys. I also like to read a lot of history, though. I think that in some ways, well, I'm of two minds, right? I'm sitting there by the fire. Why read, fiction when the greatest story ever told is history? And I just, when part of my attention is being spent on zoning out at the fire, I don't necessarily want to have to keep track of a story. So I'm not reading like a sci-fi book or a fiction book generally. I don't want to be taken out of the moment. I've spent all day working hard, getting the wood ready, getting the food ready, bear bagging, digging a latrine, building my shelter. I want to reward myself by being in the moment, which is probably why I bring books all the time and sometimes never read a damn thing. Martin says, Chris Garland, we seem to have very similar tastes. Nature, history, and philosophy would be my three fave subjects to read when camping, but I will occasionally read a fiction classic. Oh, is it? Yeah, I don't know. Everyone who was applying for my program had to know it, like had to read the hell out of it. Like with Mike is with you guys, nature, history, philosophy, but he also adds music. Hold on a second. I'm just rolling back because I think Tenenbaum said something. Name of the Rose is one of my favorites. He's saying, not sure who's carrying it in Canada, but I don't know if it's something that I said or if it's something that he posted. So I'm sort of scrolling back. Oh, the John Turturro. Okay, the Name of the Rose remake. But I'm going to look it up. Simon started reading Uberoi. The Tao of Pooh, of course, a true classic of the genre. Oh, Alain was accepted in philosophy at Concordia. I did it for a year before being accepted in engineering. I only took a few courses, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, going from philosophy to engineering that's a hell of a jump. That's an interesting set of choices there. Mark says, if solo, I usually skip the fire so I could do a night hike or paddle or both. With people, usually talking filled all of our time, along with night paddles and hikes. Brought books, rarely read them. Yeah, same here. Yeah, Mallory switched to OBS. Yeah, I keep meaning to do it, but the thing is, StreamYard is so much easier than OBS is. Really? There are advanced settings? What? Setting, annotations, quality. I don't see advanced settings anywhere. Chris says, great choices, good idea with note-taking too. I think I'll start a journal as well too. Do you find mechanical pencils easiest to use? What kind of notebook? Interesting that you asked that because I exclusively use moleskins. Moleskin? I've never known how to pronounce that in English. And Russell is right back into character. I don't go into the woods without my sous vide. Perfect steak done every time. All right, Russell. Chris says, sitting by the fire might be a great opportunity to write your own story or at least prepare some ideas for writing later. Yeah, that's true. I've started all kinds of things sitting at a fire. Yeah. Martin says, mechanical pencil requires no sharpening, so it's easier. The notebooks I use are just cheap and small dollar store ring coil bound types. New Name of the Rose miniseries is on Sundance, which is available through Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's going to be an extra cost, though. Might be worth it. Martin loved the Tao of Pooh. Man, you started something with this Tao of Pooh, man. Alain says, should have stuck to philosophy. By the way, I read the Tao of Pooh. Great little book. That's good to know. Hold on a second. Is it going to let me copy what you just posted? No. No, it's not. But mayhaps if I do this, I don't have a VPN, but oh my land, it's got a picture of John Turturro in character. Amazing. I mean, I really liked the film with Sean Connery, though. So good. So, what's your beverage of choice when you're sitting by the fire, guys? Like I usually bring, I'm making tea. If I'm next to a fire, I'm making tea. Okay, I'm making tea with a tea bag. I'm making tea with pine branches. I'm making tea with balsam fir branches. I'm making tea with like loose tea. I'll definitely bring beer because it's easy to pack along and it's easy to keep cool. You throw it in the water. I love having a nice smoky whiskey next to a nice fire, but because especially if you're on Crown Land or a lot of parks, you're not allowed to. Well, a lot of parks let it slide, but glass is verboten. Pine Martin brings a whiskey in plastic, I think, but he's got a kind of plastic that doesn't wreck the taste. I'm a classicist. I love to bring just a bottle, but I don't want to run the risk of it getting broken and staying in the woods, or I lose a piece, or God help you if you just leave a bottle and, sun hits it and starts a fire under there. But yeah, so for me, like a beer, tea, whiskey, sometimes coffee. Like I like making a cowboy coffee kind of deal. There's something foresty about cowboy coffee. Martin says coffee or scotch. Tenenbaum says hot chocolate. That's an interesting choice for out in the back 40. Beer. Egg Mike says beer, kombucha, and tea for me. I do not like kombucha, but I have tried. I want to, but I haven't found one that doesn't kind of kill me yet. Brandon says whiskey or beer. Nice. What's a cowboy coffee? Now, there are two. I know of two ways to do cowboy coffee. Okay, first of all, what it is you have a pot, not like a percolator or a mocha pot or anything. You just have a pot, and you fill it with your water, and you're boiling your water, and you throw your grounds in. You let it boil up, and then when it's ready, you do one of two things. You either put a splash of cold water into it, which makes the grounds shoot to the bottom, or you pick up the pot and you give it an almighty swing over your head and bring it to a stop. Not a sudden stop, because then you're going to goosh hot liquid all over yourself. The centripetal force. I don't know if that's centrifugal force or centripetal force. But anyways, the force shoots the grounds to the bottom as well. I feel that the splash of cold water is safer, but there's a real comedy value to swinging that pot of boiling coffee over your head. The resulting beverage is every bit as coarse as I just made it sound. Where I really got to like cowboy coffee is, excuse me, you guys know, my band does a festival gig every August in Alberta, and there the previous owners of the campsite where we go, they would do a cowboy breakfast on the Saturday and the Sunday, and the bands got a free ticket. And we would go and we would get the rock with a number on it, and when our number came up, we would go up. It was like your typical greasy ass Old West style breakfast, right? Eggs. You want them over easy or over easy? Okay. Sausage, bacon, potatoes, and cowboy coffee. But they did the splash of water method because they had these huge pots on the fire outside. Tenenbaum is giving an explanation. Any method where the grounds and coffee are together in the container, and you use some generally ineffective method of separating the grounds and the coffee, i.e. windmill. Hey, Martin.
Hey there. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying this on my phone, so we'll see how this goes.
Okay. Chris says he sacrificed a clean sock for a Cowboy coffee before. See, that's the method I don't use. I don't have laundry facilities. Scrapple. What the hell is Scrapple, Jobber?
What was that about laundry facilities?
Well, Chris Garland was saying that he sacrificed a clean sock once for Cowboy coffee. I guess to use it as a filter. And I'm like, I'm not sacrificing a clean sock. I'm usually only bringing like 2 or 3 pair of socks. I'm not going to launder coffee grounds out of my socks.
Yeah, I only bring 2 pairs of socks. One that I wear and then a spare dry pair. So
yeah, I like to sleep in different socks than I worked in. You know, like I'll have, my day pair drying over the fire kind of thing. You know, I think that's a good use of my socks.
Yeah, unless it's really cold, I don't sleep in my socks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In the summer, you're not going to sleep in your socks, probably, but
no.
Yeah.
So you were asking about what people drink when they're out there, and so you read out what I said. What I said, it's usually coffee during the day, and then afternoon around 4 o'clock when all the camp chores are done and camp's all set up, just before supper gets underway, my wife and I will usually declare that it's happy hour. We will have had a swim and cooled off and refreshed and feeling nice and mellow, and then that's when we'll crack out the scotch.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we bring it in, so the plastic bottles. This is just a cheap plastic flask. Like if you go out and buy some cheap rum or something like that, it comes in one of these cheap little bottles.
Yeah, okay.
Cheap little metal thing. They never ever leak. I've had this. I must have had this bottle for a decade, and I've got 2 or 3 of these. And this is the smallest one, but I have some slightly bigger ones. And I'll bring a few of these, and they never leak. And the alternative is one of these collapsible canteens. This is made by Nalgene, right? And it folds down to nothing. So once it's empty, it takes up no space. And those are great. I've never broken one yet.
Right.
I have brought wine in those as well on occasion.
Wine,
that's just so much volume. So if it's a short trip, I might bring some wine. I'll never bring beer. That's just always too much weight for what you get out of it, I find, and it gets fizzy and it doesn't stay cold on a summer trip. And so I never bring beer, but I will bring wine occasionally if it's a short trip. If it's a long trip, it's not worth the volume and the weight. I'll only bring scotch.
Well, yeah, because with scotch, you drink way, way smaller amounts, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You savor it, you draw it out, and you just can't possibly drink the same volume.
Well, you better not.
You better not. Something bad's going to happen out there.
Yeah. Now, do you find that the scotch that you drink camping is different from what you drink at home? Like, do you want a smokier beverage in the woods, or does it really not have an effect at all?
No, I mean, I drink whatever I've got in the house. It's not like I have like 3 or 4 different bottles of scotch. If I'm low, like I only ever have 1 bottle of scotch on the go. Okay. And if it's getting really low, I might go out and buy a second bottle before the first one is complete. That is completely knocked off. So it's possible that I'll have 2 scotches in the house, but that's it, right? So whatever it is I have to drink is whatever I'm bringing.
Okay.
So I don't have a type of single malt that I find suits me better when I'm out there. Yeah. I usually won't experiment with something though. Okay. I won't introduce something new because I don't want to get out there and go, oh, I hate it, and then maybe grow to like it, but after sort of holding my nose for 1 or 2 nights.
Yeah.
I'll bring something tried and true.
Right. Yeah, I got a bunch of scotches. I don't know what I would really bring. I like the smoky peaty taste the best, but if I'm sitting there with a fire sort of burning in my face, would that be too much? of that smoky peat. Like, would I be, man, this has never smelled smokier. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm not usually around the fire though. That's the thing. I'm almost never sitting around a fire except when I'm cooking. If
Really?
it's raining and cool out or damp or something, well then I'll make a little fire under the tarp to drive out the dampness and just create a little microclimate under the tarp.
Yeah.
But I'm not normally sitting around a fire. And in the evening, sometimes I'll sit around the fire, sometimes not. Like I like a campfire, but it's, my fires are really small. I never do that, that big pile of rocks. People have these big giant rock rings, and then they just throw big logs in there. Never. That'll never happen on one of my camping trips. If there's one thing I hate when I arrive at a campsite, whether it's, park campground, or, way out in the backcountry on Crown land, is seeing half-burnt or semi-burnt logs sitting in a fire pit. I hate that. It just drives me crazy. It always looks unsightly. It's just an aesthetic thing, but it bothers me. It always seems wasteful. And it always, to me, bespeaks someone who doesn't know how to make a fire. They don't know to split the wood. They're burning it in a round in big pieces and stuff like that. So I make small fires that tend to be utilitarian. They're for boiling water. They're for making coffee. They're for cooking. They're for warmth. And, I get the ambiance, when I'm around there, but I don't really get a lot of enjoyment sitting around the campfire in the dark. That doesn't do it for me. And normally when I'm camping, by the time it actually is dark, I'm done. I'm going to bed. Right? I've been paddling in the sun and portaging and making camp, and it's not like car camping. It's nothing like that. It's freaking tiring. Yeah. And I'm an old man. But even when I was a really young man, when sunset comes, I'm done. I go down. I feel myself fading. I can't sit around the fire without nodding off anyway. So that's, but I get up early as a result, right?
Right.
In summer, the days are long and the nights are short by comparison. So, I'll go to bed at, 9:30 or something like that once it really starts to get dark, and I'll be up very shortly after dawn.
That's the interesting thing, is that there's a magic to sitting there and staring into the fire. But like, now that we're talking about it, I do remember fairly often I'll be like, yeah, man, fire. That sort of.
Yeah. Well, I certainly lose myself in a fire. I mean, when I'm staring into the fire, like you were describing before, that time flies. They call it bush TV, right? You're just.
I'd never heard that, but it's exactly it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's bush TV. It never gets boring, and it's always changing, and yet in some sense, it's always the same. It's like TV. And it's just hypnotizing. It's mesmerizing, and I've often been captivated for hours. Especially when it's raining, like when it's pouring rain all around you, and there's not much you can do. And it's kind of damp. You make that fire under your tarp, and it's really the only thing driving out the humidity and dampness in the air around you, right? Yeah. And that's when I'll spend a lot of time reading during the day. I don't read much in the tent except to help me fall asleep, which usually comes over me quickly. Yeah. So I'm usually reading under the tarp when it's bad weather. If it's nice weather, I won't be sitting around reading. I'll be running around doing something, or paddling, or exploring, or hiking, or doing something, plant ID, or, foraging, harvesting and processing wood. I'll be doing so many fishing, all kinds of things. Yeah. But yeah, the reading is usually on a crummy day. So many times I'll bring, a book, some big fat brick, and I won't make any progress because we had nice weather. Right. I got 20 pages in, on a 7-day trip, and then there have been other times where, I'll turn to my wife and like, well, I'm done my book, honey. You want to swap, Right. I hope you finish your book soon because I got nothing to read, and it's still pouring rain. The last long camping trip we took, my wife and I, was 11 days. It was supposed to be 9 days, but the last 5 days it just poured rain. It was just, we were windbound. It was just pouring rain and heavy winds, and we couldn't get out. We were just kind of stuck. We were pinned down on one site for days. We got a lot of reading done that trip.
It's funny because if it's not 3 or 4 days straight, especially at night, I do love the sound of rain on my tent. It's hypnotic. It's like it's like nature's ASMR. I even like the sound of rain if I'm like sitting in my solarium here. If I can have a window open without, I love the sound of rain.
Yeah, I especially like it on my tarp. It's funny, I don't really like the sound of rain on my tent as much because there's always some part of me that is worried about moisture getting in, and so.
But I always have a cover, like what do you call those tent covers things that go over the tent? Yeah, I've always got one of those, so I never really think about it that way.
Yeah, well, flies fail. Like you get a leak and stuff like that's happened to me before, or you get a huge downpour and then you get a lot of ground runoff.
Yeah,
and unless you happen to be on a local high point, you can get water under your tent and then it can bubble up because of hydrostatic pressure. It can bubble up through even a waterproof floor.
Yeah.
So
very true.
It's happened. So I always sort of sleep with one eye open when there's a bad storm and the rain is really coming down, because that's when you'll find out how well sealed your tent is.
Yeah.
So I always worry a little bit about it, but during the day or in the evening, or if it's pouring rain and I'm under my tarp, I never worry. That's never an issue, because I'm not worried about things getting, soaked while I'm sleeping because I'm awake, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my tent is over there and my bedding is all in there, and I'm not worried about it because I'm not in it.
Right. Yeah. I get it.
But it could be soaked, for all I know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an irrational thing. But so rain on my tarp is great. Rain on my tent at night, not as soothing for me.
Yeah.
My wife loves it, and she falls asleep. Like there can be any kind of thunderstorm, all hell can be breaking loose around us, and she's fine, and I am just like waiting for the storm to pass. I'm always listening for limbs fall a lot when there's a violent thunderstorm, right? And I'm always listening for those, right? How close was that one?
Yeah, I get it.
Because that's usually what gets you, right? It's not going to be an actual lightning strike, although that does happen to people.
Yeah.
It's just one fallen limb, and then you're in some serious trouble.
Yeah, that's very true. Chris is asking, does anyone enjoy sketching? I do a lot of sketching. I went to art school as a kid, so I grew up sketching. I always had a sketchbook. These days, my sketching is like, I don't do it for the sort of the relaxation at the end of the day kind of thing. I don't sketch for enjoyment anymore. I just do it if I'm sketching like like an idea for a YouTube studio that I'd like to build, or t-shirt designs that I was selling for a while kind of thing.
Right.
But I don't enjoy it for its own sake anymore. It's been a long time since I've really done it in any serious way. Mallory says, "Oh yeah, I sleep like a baby unless I drink coffee with dinner." Yeah. Chris Garland, I would love sketching, but I don't have that talent. It skipped generations in my family, and my dad was the artist, and I was a stick figure guy, but my daughter is an amazing artist. Dude, there's no magic to art. All it takes is agonizing effort. That's it. It's... I very strongly feel that if I can do something, anyone can. I don't love the concept of talent. I think that saying that somebody is talented is an excellent way of saying that you don't appreciate the amount of work that they've put in to get good at something. And I think that if you decide that you really want to do it, my mother was a stick figure person her whole life. Now that she's retired and has nothing else to do, because COVID means she can't be teaching English right now, she's taken up watercolors. And,
Oh, nice.
you know, for someone who has always said that she can't draw, yes, she can, because we can. We're artistic people. We're creative people. Whether, and we just sort of branch into this person's creative in engineering and this person's creative in painting and this person in dance because we're just taught we have to specialize. But we're all born with. I have never met anyone who was born or grew up without any form of creativity. And if you can be creative in one way, I feel that you can, not easily, but if you really, really want to, you can be creative in other ways. That's the magic of us over the other animals.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that we use the word creativity for certain kinds of imaginativeness and resourcefulness and ingenuity, namely the arts, right? But when you're sort of creative and ingenious and resourceful in other areas, we have other words for it, like imaginative, resourceful, ingenious. Engineering, for instance, right? We don't associate those with creativity, although obviously it takes creativity. Right?
Yeah, look at Sir Isaac Newton. Creating differential calculus almost on a whim. Come on, that takes some seriously creative thought.
Well, scientific creativity is weird. Like, people don't think of science as creative because they imagine that there's just some procedure, some mechanical procedure that you follow that just delivers answers, which of course is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because you have to come up with hypotheses, and you have to generate theories, and you have to work out in your head, and you're basically carrying out thought experiments. You have to work out the implications of these things. Yeah. And you have to sort of conjoin facts that are sometimes very disparate and unobviously connected. And sort of making these connections and relationships is all creativity, right? And you have to do it under extraordinary constraints, namely, what you come up with has to conform with the data, right? So you can't. It's not like freestyle jazz or something like that, right? Which is I think less bounded than other forms, like a haiku poetry. There's some real, restrictions.
Constraints,
there's real constraints, right? Well, some arts are more or less constrained than others, and science is an aspect of human creativity that is extremely stringently constrained. So I think it actually takes an extremely creative mind to come up with something novel that conforms to the facts. It's incredible, really.
Yeah, because there's always like what Feynman said, right? Is like, if experimentation doesn't bear your theory out, then no matter how beautiful your theory is, it's wrong. Well, this is Feynman, so it's wrong. Right? I like, by the way, how what Hike with Mike said fits in exactly with what we're talking about.
No, I can't see the chat. So.
Oh, he says, I'm better at painting with words.
Yeah, some people really are wonderful with words. I'm very prosaic. So it's funny, we were talking, Hike with Mike and I were talking about sort of journaling and stuff like that. And when I'm out there and I keep a journal, I just have this little mechanical pencil, and I have one of those little ring binder notebooks, like 3 inches across by 4 inches high, and I'm just recording what time I got up, what birds I heard when I woke up, what the day looked like when I woke up, what the weather was like, the temperature, what we had for breakfast, what plants and animals we saw, what we do throughout the day. It's really a kind of boring diary of everything that we did. And it's kind of tedious to write. It takes a long time to do it. But what's nice about it is, if I do look back at it years later, and I seldom look at them, but when I do, I am right back. I remember that trip vividly because I recorded everything, like some kind of court stenographer that had to busy himself writing everything down. So it takes me right back to a trip that I had almost forgotten about. I might have remembered a couple of highlight moments, but when I read that, it puts me back there. And everything I write is prosaic. It's not beautiful. It's not poetic. It's not flowery or purple. I can't write that way. I write the way I talk, which is kind of plodding and pedantic.
Okay. Alain says, there's a book called How to Fly a Horse. It explains every human has the ability to be creative. It's an innate human trait. It isn't reserved for intelligent people. I like that. Of course, right after that, Russell says, this conversation is too deep. Hike with Mike says, I had a hardcore music teacher and music was his passion. He would say to us, I don't read books, I read music. He was so passionate about his craft. It's funny how this conversation has taken a bit of a turn to the left. But I think it's because when you start to talk about creativity, everyone's got something to say. Right? Everyone, because the thing is, it gets everyone where they live, whether they know it or not. You know, because it is an innate thing, I feel. You know, and by the way, Russell, if these conversations too deep for you, how the hell are you not jumping in to bring some bubbles to the conversation? Come on, man. What the hell?
If he wants to come in, I can drop, and that way we can we can have a less highfalutin conversation.
Wow, I'm liking this conversation though. Excuse me, man.
Yeah, so take that, Russell.
Yeah, Russell. Canceling his knife order and trying to reorder the next day. But like, so here's the thing. Your day breaks down into, you know, you wake up and you're doing your morning coffee, right? And then there's fun stuff and not so fun stuff, because if you camp the way I do, you got to look for wood again at some point during the trip, right? And then there's all this work. And then later there's supper, and then there's relaxation. Is tool maintenance part of your sort of come down off the day, or is that part of just the make word part?
Not really. I mean, the only maintenance I'll do is I'll touch up my knife. You know, I've got one of those little, I don't even remember what it's called. It's like a DC3 or something like that. I can't even remember who makes it. It's just a little sharpening stone. It's kind of diamond on one side.
The DC3 and DC4 are by Phil Knieven.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I carry. And I'll touch up my knife. I'll touch up my axe if I brought an axe. I almost never bring an axe. I'll bring an axe winter camping. I won't usually bring one canoe camping unless I know I'm going on Crown land and I'm going to have to make a bush site, or if I think there's going to be like a tree across, you know, the creek or whatever, and we're going to have to do some chopping and sawing, and I want two tools. I want one saw and I want one axe, so that, you know, whoever I'm paddling with, my wife or whomever I'm with, we each have one tool to work with. So yeah, I don't really, you know, I mean, anything that needs to be done, that's serious, I'll do when I get home.
Right.
So there's not much tool maintenance except a little, you know, sharpening, you know, because I baton a lot. I baton a lot of wood. I've got a Mora knife, you know, a robust knife, and I use
Martin, you just said you baton on Facebook, surrounded by bushcrafters. Somebody's going to take you down now.
Yeah,
go crazy.
Yeah, well, they can come with me and they can carry the axe, you know, so that they can make kindling. Yeah, you know, go ahead, bring all that extra weight and volume and encumbrance.
And you know what? Sometimes I baton
especially on a backpacking trip. Do it on a backpacking trip. You know, that's great if you're going from your car a mile or, you know, a couple of kilometers into the bush, but go on a long hike and carry that axe so that you can make kindling, and then come talk to me. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Now, tools are important. You got to have the right tools for the job, but what constitutes the right tool for the job depends on your circumstances. And if you are backpacking, if you're doing a long day's hike, right, and you're going to need the axe for 30 minutes, you're insane to bring an axe if you can get by with a good knife or you know, I mean, there's other tools. It doesn't just have to be a regular, you know, fixed blade knife or something like that, right? Right. But yeah, I mean, batoning is a perfectly sensible, you know, age-old way of processing wood. I've never broken a knife doing that.
Sometimes I baton even with my axe because there's a lot more control to putting the axe on and then to bop, bop, bop than there is at whaling if you don't have a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, it's just way safer. Just way safer to baton. I mean, if you don't know how to baton, but an axe swing, I mean, it's a sudden, explosive movement, and you can have an accident. You can get unlucky, and I mean, and I bring a fairly short axe. It's not a hatchet, but it's a short hunter's axe, and I go to my knees all the time, so that I can't screw up and put one into my ankle or anything like that. So I'm actually extremely careful with those tools, but even so, it's just the weight of them doesn't make sense, and they take up an awful lot of room. So if you're going to be clearing a portage trail or clearing a route along a creek, or there's going to be a lot of blowdown wherever you're going, like if you're in the boreal forest, it makes a lot of sense to bring an axe because there's so much blowdown in the boreal forest that you're often going to have to do some clearing of a site just to pitch your tent, right? So then it makes sense. But where I camp, it's a mix of hardwood and softwood, and it's almost never necessary. So I bring it when it's necessary, or when I think it'll be necessary, and otherwise I don't bring it. So there's not a lot of sort of working with tools and stuff like that. I'm more likely to have to do some mending with a sewing kit than grinding out a big nick in my axe or something like that. That's
right.
Never
but sort of zoning out, sort of getting into the zen of tool maintenance is not part of your relaxation process then.
Well, it's funny. So, under COVID right now, we can't really go anywhere. We're in a stay-at-home order, but fortunately I live where there's just woods all around. So I can just take a short walk or a short drive and stay within my community, and I can be in the woods, which I do. I go out almost every day. I was out today. It was raining this morning. I was out in the rain this morning. I just strung up a tarp in the bush, and I had a little camping chair that folds up, and I sat there, and I had made a little twig stove fire. And just as an exercise, I just, that little challenge, that one stick fire, where you go out and find a piece of wood that's no bigger or longer than your forearm, from your elbow to your wrist, right? And you got to boil, water to make a cup of coffee out of just that one piece of wood. So you've got to get, your big pieces, your smaller pieces, your kindling and your tinder out of all of that, and you just start it with a ferro rod. So I was just doing that as an exercise today.
Okay.
And once it was going, I broke out my little DC3, and I was just, or is it the DC4? It's the smaller one anyway, whichever one it is. And I was just touching up my knife. Now, it didn't need it. It didn't have a nick in it or anything like that. It wasn't feeling particularly dull. It's just that I felt like, it's been a long time since I've touched it up, so I should touch it up, right? Yeah. And and I had a tiny little strip of leather, a bit of a belt that I use as a strop just to finish it off. But I'm not a tool guy. I'm not a knife guy. You're into knives and axes and stuff like that, right? You're really into blades. That's not my thing, so I don't zen out, right? It's not important to me that my tools be razor sharp. It just has to be sharp enough to do the job.
I'm with you on axes, by the way, about that. I mean, I don't want to dive into a whole axe discussion, but for my forest axes, I don't want them hair popping sharp, because that by definition means that you got a more fragile edge on it.
Yeah, it'll roll more.
It's like, I don't want to deal with that. So my carving axes, I want hair popping sharp, because the context of when I'm using a carving axe, totally different, right? I'm in my workshop,
right,
with a whole sharpening setup right there, and I'm working on birch. I'm not trying to pound beech or maple into firewood, But
if I was a carver, it would be different, right? And so if I was a carver, if I like whittling and making fancy things, if I was going to make a cook's a cup or something like that, then that would be completely different. Then obviously I'd want things to be as sharp as they need to be for whatever purposes, right? But it might. I'm cutting rope, I'm batoning wood, I'm making a feather stick or something. I mean, it's all very pedestrian uses. Nothing that requires a tool that is exceptionally sharp. And also, like the knife that I use, it's a more robust. It's sort of a thicker blade than you would find on the Companion, for instance. And I find the blade profile on that is actually kind of challenging. It's hard to get it sharp in the right way. Like when I make feather sticks, actually, it's kind of hard to make feather sticks with that blade. Something about the thickness of it and the profile of the.
And it's a slightly different length than the Companion as well. I have a robust and a Companion.
Yeah.
And I like the stubby kind of the oomph of the robust, but the ease of use aspect on the Companion is much, much better.
Yeah, I have a Companion, and I was just telling my wife today that when I'm making feather sticks with the Companion, and it's in stainless, that one, my Mora is robust is in carbon. I mean, it's so much finer. I can make such fine, longer curls with that knife, but with that bigger blade.
Yeah, it's a narrower blade. You know, it's a narrower blade than the robust. Okay, because that's the thing. The robust is supposed to be robust.
Right.
You know, so I get it. And I love the look of it. And when I first, because I bought 3 Moras at the same time. Okay, I spent all this. This is so not on topic, but I'm just going to make it real quick.
Well, no, it's part of what we're talking about. I mean, it is. It's what you do with your time.
Yeah.
You know,
once everything else is done. Yeah.
Yeah, knife maintenance is something that everybody does. I just don't do much, but
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm curious.
So I had been anti-Mora forever because, you know, like on all the forums, they're like, Moras are so cheap that if you break it, you just throw it away. And I am so not into, shall we say, to remain polite, throwaway culture that I was like, I'm not buying those. But the thing is, people really love their Moras. And so one day I was like, I got to figure this out. I got to find out what people are into. So I bought 3. I bought myself a Companion. I bought myself, I'm telling a stinking lie. I bought 2. I bought a Companion and I bought a robust. And the reason I thought I bought 2 Companions is because Mora sent me a Companion for review. So I gave the one I bought to my buddy Robin, who you guys have seen on some of my the wood turning video where we were making ferro rods. Right. So I gave him one because I was like, I got 3 and he doesn't have anything. So I gave him the Companion, and I have the robust and the Companion HD that I have, and I see what people like. I saw what people like so much that when that Garberg came out, I bought one, even though it's like, oh, what the hell are you talking about? $100 Mora. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's full tang, but it's a Mora. But I bought the Garberg, and it's amazing how often that comes into the woods or when I go anywhere instead of like my Australian Woodlore clone or whatever. Because I used to always have the Companion or the robust in my bag as a backup knife in case, because you always have to have a backup knife. If something happens to your axe and you don't have a backup axe, of course you don't have a backup axe. They weigh a ton. But if you don't have a backup knife and something happens, you might be up shit creek, right?
Yeah.
But that Garberg isn't a backup knife. That's not one I keep in my bag just in case. That's a good freaking knife. And the balance is so different because it's full tang. You know, Moras have that slightly front forward. What? You know what I'm talking about, right? The balance is a little forward because not this baby. You know, this guy is, it's got a good weight. It's a solid knife. But here's the thing. I think that for the price, your Companion is just a killer deal. It's usable, right? There's no fatigue because it doesn't have all, you know, sort of the weight in the back, right? You know, you don't get fatigued easily. Easy maintenance, you know, and you don't have to stress about it. How many Moras are you on by now, Martin?
Well, I bought the stainless steel Companion for me and one for my wife, and then the robust I won it in a contest, and actually a YouTube giveaway contest.
Nice.
And I was gonna buy one, but I sort of felt like, well, I've already got a knife, you know. And that's it. Those are the only 2 fixed blade knives that I own. Is my stainless steel one that's always in my car, and my robust that usually goes out with me all the time on day trips and camping trips. So that's it. I mean, and I use them all the time. Like I use my robust nearly every day when I go out on day trips. And day trips are short. Like, I mean, they can just be like a couple hours. Sometimes I'll just go out. I just want to have a cup of coffee. I just want to make a little twig stove fire and, listen to the birds and, listen to the turkeys. The turkeys are very active right now.
Yeah.
But I use it all the time. Or I'll play in my backyard, and I'll just be making a little fire in my backyard or something like that. So I've been using it constantly for years and years now. I'm not sure how long I've had it, but there's a video on my channel that shows when I want it, but it's maybe 8 years, something like that, maybe 7 years, I don't know, something like that. I use it constantly. I mean, it looks like hell, but but that's one of the things I like about it is that it doesn't have a sort of a fine wooden handle, that I have to treat and look after, and I would feel terrible if it got nicked. And sometimes you're out there, you're doing stuff, and you're working in an awkward position, you drop your knife, and it lands on a rock, right? Well, that rubberized handle, I don't give a damn what happens to it, right?
Right.
And the back of my, I was once splitting a piece of wood that I didn't realize was ironwood. I was batoning through a piece of ironwood, and I thought I was batoning with a piece of maple through a piece of maple, and I was batoning through a piece of ironwood, as I discovered, and it was really hard. And man, I dented the back of that knife, right? The spine of of it, like you can see where I had to hit it so hard with that piece of maple. I actually left marks in the spine, which I didn't think could possibly happen. I didn't think that a piece of maple could leave a mark inside the spine of a knife that thick. But
that's like He-Man work.
Yeah, I was hitting it pretty hard. Well, I got it stuck, and I didn't have another piece of wood that was split that I could use as a wedge to sort of free my knife.
Right.
So I was really kind of ticked off, and I was really hammering away at it. But
anyway. Going at it.
Yeah, I was going at it like a maniac.
I love it.
Yeah, so my knife looks very, very unloved, and it's very unlovely. But I love it because it's served me so well, right? It really feels like my knife, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I could go out and get some really expensive, fall niven knife or something like that, something really beautiful, an F1 or something like that, or a really nice custom made knife, and I've had people offer, knife makers said, hey, if you want, I'll make you one, right? And I've always declined just because I think, that should go to someone who's really going to appreciate it, right? Because those things are works of art, right? But my attitude towards tools is very utilitarian and instrumental. I'm not into the aesthetics of knives that way. But I mean, that's just a peculiarity of me. I know most people aren't like that. Most people who are into camping, really like their tools to be beautiful and, look after them accordingly, right? It's just not where my aesthetic sensibilities lie.
Yeah, I like my tools to give me the fizz. And it's funny because you mentioned the F1, because I have an F1, and I pined for an F1 for years before I got one. And I love it, and I love it. And I'm looking at it, but they're not beautiful wooden. Well, some Falknevens really are, but the F1 is a really utilitarian. I mean, that's the one that was designed for the Swedish Air Force, right? So it's got like this rubbery handle, plain Jane, and I'm the guy who likes the desert ironwood handles or like olive wood handles. I pine for a jack lore, but there's something about that damn F1 that I look at it and it gives me the fizz. It's like a Fender Precision bass, right? Kind of a blunt object design wise, but because it's iconic in its world, there's something exciting about owning one and playing one, because I mean, I always bring it back to basses because I've got a P bass sitting right there. It's the same sound it's been since the early 60s. I was going to say late 50s, but they changed the pickups and design. It's the same look as it's had. It's the most recognizable bass on the planet, right? If you, the type of person who even can look at a band and tell which one's the bass player, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
not a lot of people are. But something about that F1 blunt object, obviously, speaking symbolically here, not utilitarian as hell, but there's something about it that I look at it and I think it's because it wasn't designed to an aesthetic purpose.
Right.
It was designed to a utilitarian purpose, but it still looks so damn cool.
Yeah, see, it's funny. To me, that looks like a very fine, fancy knife.
That does it?
Yeah, well, to me, yeah, because, I just have those cheap Mora knives, right? And I always recommend the Mora knives to people because very often people are going to bang up their knives because when they're starting out, they don't know what to get and they aren't very good at using their knives.
Right.
And so they are going to damage it, and then they will feel crappy. Or if they lose it, people lose knives all the time. They set them down. They're not in the habit of sheathing them.
Yeah. You're right. A starter knife should definitely not be a high end for anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah. And I like that the sheaths are plastic. I know everyone hates that about the Moras, but I like that. I like that I don't have to treat the leather.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about it, getting wet. It's really light. I mean, that plastic sheath weighs nothing. Yeah. I mean, I wear my robust. It's a fairly heavy knife, you would think, but the sheath weighs nothing. So, I mean, I just wear it as a neck knife, year round.
I just want to say two things here. First, hi, Russell. Second, welcome to Dennis from Canoe Hound Adventures. I guess his stream is over now. How's it going, mister? We're talking about something you might want to get in on. We're talking about once you're done all the damn camp chores or the cabin chores or whatever, and you're just sitting next to the fire, what it is. Wow, there's the French Canadian coming out, eh? What it is that you like to do the most. What is it that you like to sort of do? Some people just stare into the fire. Some people read a book. Some people
Dennis was live. I didn't know that. I would have been over there.
Russell, you are such a brat. Martin, have you and Russell ever been on my screen together before?
I think very briefly, yeah. I think we sort of passed each other like in and out. Yeah, I think briefly once.
Was I drinking at the time? I don't remember.
I don't know. I might have been, and so maybe that's why neither of us remembers it very well.
Russell is definitely rememberable. No, what's the word for rememberable? Memorable.
Memorable.
Well, I haven't been speaking a lot of English today, so this is like I'm getting back into the swing of things tonight.
Me too. I haven't. Oh my god, this is like the first words I've said all day. Well, I may have said "fuck off" to the dogs a couple of times. Oh, sorry.
Damn it, demonetized.
Sorry, not sorry.
Are those Russell Terriers? Oh, shite. I said it. As soon as you said dogs, I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
You said it.
Stupid.
How you been feeling lately, Jess? You okay?
I'm working at it. Look, it's going to take me like 6 months to get over what I got. So, I'm just
6 months.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Today was a nice sunny day, and I should have been out there filming, and I wasn't.
Well, I was stuck at work all day. But as soon as because it was cold this morning, man, I woke up and it was like 0, okay? But it got really nice in the afternoon. It was like, I should go out and probably finish my work day before I go playing hooky. Hi, Dennis.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Oh, there he is. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Martin. Russell. How you doing, guys?
Dennis, I gotta subscribe to your channel, so I.
Yeah, but you're never gonna watch them anyway. You don't watch channels.
Yeah, but I like to be able to say, "Hey, Dennis, I didn't watch this video you put out today."
Yeah, the ultimate compliment.
Yeah, he's complimented me that way many times, Dennis.
There.
That was a good live stream tonight, by the way, Dennis.
Thanks, Martin. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, Sean's a pretty cool dude, eh?
Yeah, I wondered like how it would be because I've never actually met him. I don't think I met him anyway. And he doesn't do live streams and stuff like that. So I thought, well, what's it going to be like? Because you didn't have a big panel or anything. It was just him.
Yeah.
oh, how's this going to go? I thought you might have to do a lot of heavy lifting, but no, he seemed perfectly at ease with being live and answering questions that he didn't know were coming and stuff like that. So it was great.
Yeah. He's a pretty chill dude. We had a good time in the green room. We should have popped in for a few minutes.
Yeah, well, I wanted to watch the start of this, so I headed over.
Yeah,
Dennis,
I'm gonna have to
when
watch Time Shifted again, Dennis. Russell, what were you saying?
Dennis, when do you usually go live?
Tuesday night, 7:00.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, what happened to you with your Books Fest on Friday night there?
Oh, well, I didn't do it.
Obviously. It's like, oh shit, what are we gonna do on my Friday night now?
I have to try that. I have to try that with my wife the next time she asks me why I didn't do something, and I'll just say, "Oh, I didn't do it."
Yeah. I can tell you, I really want to know the answer to that, so I'm just going to avoid you for the rest of the day. Yeah, but I did go live on Sunday on my other channel, so that was pretty good. And that's when I ordered the knife. In fact, I got up the next day, and I'm looking at him like, why is my credit card sitting out here?
I seen you on Sunday night. That's a different channel?
What I do? Yeah, the Books Fest channel.
Oh, I didn't know you had a separate channel for that.
Yeah, for some reason I had.
So you got a
100
Raspberry
people
Rock and then you got Books Fest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The other channel, the Books Fest channel, I get a lot fewer people watching, even though I had over 100 people watching, which was really strange. But a lot fewer people means more intimate conversations can be had. Like, you get so many people watching on the main channel, those live streams, it's just, I can't hold a conversation. It's just, the chat's just moving way too fast.
Mm. Yeah, I'm lucky enough that I don't have to deal with that.
I remember those days. No, in fact, I don't think I was ever like Jess.
I'll have to look that up later. What's the channel name, Russell? Books Fest?
The Books Fest channel.
The Books? Okay. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Okay. This whole stupid StreamYard thing needs I know I keep saying this, it needs a night mode.
Yes, it does.
I've almost got it covered up with stuff.
But yeah, Dennis. So what's once all the work is done, Martin and I have been talking about it all night. Lots of interesting stuff, a lot of cool stuff happening in the side chat. So here's the deal. Doesn't have to be your first day camping or your first day at the cabin. It can be anything, but you've done all the chores. You've collected all the wood. You've chopped, you've cut, you've sawed, you've made your supper. You've eaten your supper. You're kicking back. It's just you and the fire. How do you end your night? Do you stare into the fire? Do you read a book? Do you stare at your phone? What is it that you do?
If I'm solo, I'll just usually solo.
Yeah,
I'll just chill. I'll chill for a bit, but as soon as the eyes start getting a little lazy, which usually happens pretty quick when I'm out there solo, because I am doing all my own work, right?
Mm-hmm. I think Martin was talking about that as well a little bit. He's like, especially in the summer when it gets dark late, by the time the sun goes down, you know, like I just start to nod off, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes it's not even getting dark yet. I'm serious, like it could be just like, right at the end of the day, sun is starting to hit the horizon line, and you got that last coffee with a shot of Bailey's in it or something, and you start getting I really, when I'm on a trip, I really, really like the mornings. Like if I could be up to see a sunrise, I'm just as happy as seeing a sunset. You know what I mean? And so for me to turn in early on a canoe trip or some sort of backcountry camping trip, I love it because I'm almost guaranteed that I'm going to wake up bright and early.
I don't like going to bed before the sun goes down, just because I like going to bed when it's dark out. Like I like when I'm out there getting into my sleeping bag, like turn off my torch or whatever, and it's like black. I love that. So like to me, going to bed before it's or at least before the sun is nothing but like a red stripe in the horizon, I miss that feeling. Mm-hmm. Like Martin and I have talked about this a lot, and he's very sort of logical, and I'm I get sometimes, like over the past several months, I've started to feel that maybe I'm bringing too much sort of, I don't know what the term would be, but like, I love the feeling of, turning off my light and it's blackout. I love having tools with pretty wood because I like imagining the hands making them. I like, making a big fire because I feel like I'm linked to the ancient world. It's like I bring this sort of spacey thing to, and I'm talking to Martin. He's like, well, here's what we do. We make a small fire to warm the place up. And then when we don't need the fire anymore, we put it out. And I'm like, yeah, but this means you don't dance around the fire with the fairies.
Yeah, I think we might not be going on a camping trip summer. I don't know.
2 different camping trips at the same time.
You know something though, Jeff? And Martin can attest to this because you're a hammock sleeper, camper, aren't you, Martin?
When I go solo, yeah.
Okay. You could sit around the campfire and be uncomfortable, like, trying to find that position, even with those comfy little camp chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have that air of uncomfortability. There's the big word, my big word for the day. Uncomfortableness, right? Being around
discomfort.
the fire. Discomfort. Thank you.
That's the one. That's the one.
But
you're gonna get there.
But when you have that versus jumping into your hammock and knowing you're gonna pass out like that is such a nice thing. Hammocks for me personally, hammocks are so comfortable that I wouldn't trade a hammock sleep in for anything.
I still haven't tried my hammock. I've had it for 5 years now, and I still haven't tried it.
Yeah. We have the same one. You have the Hennessy Expedition ASIM.
Yes.
And I have the same one, and man, it's comfortable. And I'm a side sleeper and a stomach sleeper. I sleep on my back a little bit in the night, but I'm a guy that sort of rolls around at night. When I'm in a hammock, I go to sleep. I mean, I used to try to sleep on my side and on my stomach, and I was able to do it in the Hennessy. But I discovered something. If I just sleep on my back, I wake up in the same position. I don't stir. I'm just nestled. I'm cradled in there, and I don't need to move. I don't feel uncomfortable. There's no pressure on one spot or anything like that. I don't feel the need to shift. And it took me a few nights, like maybe 8 or 9 nights, to come to the realization that I do not need to be rolling around at night in my hammock. It just cradles you, and you'll be fine, and just fall asleep that way.
Right.
I can't do that in my bed. Like, no way. I'll just I'll be bed sore, if I try to do that. It'll wake me up from the stomach.
How the hell do you sleep on your stomach on a hammock?
Well, I mean, a camping hammock, it has a very flat lay, as they say. You sleep diagonally on it. So, you can just sleep on your stomach. Your head to the side, but just like you would on your bed. And I mean, you have to have an air mattress in it, I find. If you just use an underquilt, there's probably not enough structure in there. But I find that with my old Thermarest or my X-Bed mattress that I put in there between the diagonal lay and the cut of the hammock and that mattress, it's nice and flat. I can lie on my side or on my stomach quite comfortably. But I don't really need to. I at some point discovered one night, like, I just fell asleep on my back, and then I woke up without having woken up once in the night. And I was in the same position, and I looked around and I realized nothing had changed, nothing had stirred, nothing had shifted. And I thought, wow, this is the way. I'm going to try this again. And so the next night I just did it again. I just willed myself to not move, and I fell asleep, and then I woke up in the exact same position. And I can't sleep like that on a mattress. There's no way I would be able to. There's no way I could possibly be that still. But there's something about the cradling action of a hammock that's.
I've always said if I could install my hammock in my bedroom, I would have no need for a mattress.
There are ways to do that.
I did that some years ago when we lived in a different place, not in this house, but in an apartment. I anchored my hammock over our bed diagonally, just so I could sleep in it. So my wife was out of town. She was going to she was going to be out of town for 9 days. So I thought, okay, well, those 9 nights I'm going to sleep in my hammock. And remember, I said it took me about 9 nights to figure this out. Mm-hmm. This is where I figured it out. I just strung my hammock diagonally across the bed, over the bed, because that's where the only two places where I could anchor my hammock, would put it over the bed. And I just, would stand up on the bed and then get into my hammock.
Right.
And it worked. It was great. And then when my wife came back, she said, "What the hell is this?"
I've redecorated, honey.
Yeah, well, she wouldn't have been happy with me drilling into the walls and stuff like that to string this up. So I had to wait till she was out of town.
Always better.
Thereafter, every time she went to visit, her mom or her sister or something like that, or had to be out of town for any reason, I would string the hammock up because I would sleep so soundly in it. And it's funny because normally I don't sleep very well when she's away. Like the bed's just too big without her, and I just, I sort of feel her absence if she's out of town.
You just quoted a Police song, right?
I what?
You just quoted a
Police
Police
the bed's
song.
too big without you. Yeah, that's right. I guess I did. But I have that feeling when she's absent that I just, I notice her absence in the bed. It really does feel too big. But I can get a proper night's sleep when she's away if I sleep in the hammock.
Okay. I love the idea of stringing that hammock up in your bedroom. I'm wondering how I could get away with such a thing.
Yeah, well, these two giant iron rings sticking out of the corners of the wall, anchored right into the beams. And
Russell's looking around right now, trying to figure out where you can hang a hammock in the cabin.
Right across the second floor there.
Yeah,
I'd have to drop into it. I couldn't climb into it.
Yeah. When we moved into this house, I asked if I could do that, and I got a firm no. So, yeah.
Hey Russell, did you ever figure out where that leak was coming from in your roof?
No, I didn't.
Because when you had the video camera at a certain angle there in that video you were shooting, I see little cracks of light. Couldn't possibly. I did. I swear to God. Look back over it. I left you a comment in the comment section.
Was it when I put my hand under and I was moving the insulation?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you would be able to do there. I haven't figured this out yet. I got to put like expanding foam or something under that whole way, but I don't think that's the spot where it's leaking. I think it's somewhere else. Like the ice has just pushed, water up where it shouldn't be.
Sort of like a damming effect, eh? Pushing it up.
Yeah. That's the only time, as far as I know, it's the only time it's happened in 4 years. So I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to seal it up.
The thing about water is sometimes where it pops out in the house is nowhere near where it sort of first infiltrated, because it's been running down beams and stuff, and it comes out over there, kind of deal.
Yeah,
just trying to scare me now.
Wow, carpentry for 5 years. I know some stuff.
I know some stuff. You know some stuff. Nice. All right,
I've seen some stuff.
Sorry, I told my wife I couldn't get over what you said the last time we chatted, and how you're used to dropping $100 on a bottle of whiskey.
Yes.
So I told her that story, and she's like, "No,
this one.
You're not doing it."
You're not doing it.
Like, damn. I haven't had 20-year-old Taylor Flaggate in ages. I don't want to. That's my favorite.
You can get away with much better age statements at $100 with port than you can with Scotch. That's for sure. Like a 20-year-old Scotch tends to really crank you in the pocketbook.
Good night there, Mel.
Yeah, she had to go. The fuse blew in her heater.
I'm not able to see the live chat for some reason.
I find when I'm using my phone to watch like Dennis or something, getting to see the live chat is a total crapshoot. Sometimes it works.
I just don't have an option here. The only option I have on my screen here is the internal chat for this live stream for us. But
oh, really? That's weird.
Are you on your computer or are you on your cell phone?
I'm on my cell phone. It's the first time I've done this, and I'm not finding the option. But it's also doing this through my browser. For some reason.
What was that? Wasn't that Russell trying to speak there?
Yeah, was it?
So I was just asking, like on the side, do you not have private chat and then comments, like 2 tabs?
No, there's nothing like that. I just see what looks like this live stream window, but it's displaying this through my browser, my phone's browser. So I'm not sure what's going on here.
That's probably because you have the StreamYard window open, right? Because the StreamYard window would not show up in your YouTube app. Holy crap! It's 22:50. This conversation is just sort of.
Yeah, time went by. We have a lot of blab in us.
A little bit, just on occasion.
Yeah,
occasionally.
Yeah, I've got enough blab. I've done enough blabbing for the night, so I'm actually going to sign off and let you guys carry on. But I'll be listening.
All right, see you, Martin. Thanks.
Good night, gentlemen. Good night. Good night, everyone in the chat.
Night. Hey, Russell.
Yeah.
Like I've been asking people like about how they sort of come down off a long day at the campsite, but I mean, you live sort of in a cabin. Like, do you do a nightcap before bed kind of thing? Kick back, relax, have a glass of $100 scotch at the fire.
Before bed? What? That's my routine from about 5 p.m.
Really? You have my envy, sir.
It's not like that. I mean, I don't have a day job like most of you suckers. I'm just here at my cabin. If I'm not doing videos or working on the cabin, then I'm not doing anything. It's pretty easy going here. I don't have to unwind from anything. I don't have to, Is that your question? Do I unwind?
Yeah. Well, because and then you make me feel bad about my life choices. So I'm just gonna drink.
Well, you know what? I've made some pretty poor life choices. And along the way, I've gotten really, really lucky on certain things.
Yeah. I get it. I do get it. I feel that sometimes if I was financially independent, everything would be simpler. And then I'm like, shut up. Nothing is ever simple, no matter what. But, if I had the financial freedom to really make a go of YouTube, like not worry about 8 hours a day of working, does that even mean that I would do well at YouTube? Do you know what I'm saying? Like having the freedom to do something doesn't mean that you're going to be good at it.
I couldn't YouTube day in and day out. But I've taken a huge step back from YouTube actually, like as far as the amount of time I spend on here. Yeah. It gets old. You know what I mean? Like I can't. I used to go on friends' live streams every single night.
Mm-hmm. That I could not do.
Yeah, it just became too routine. So now I've tried to set myself a schedule for it. Okay. You'll notice probably my video production's even been down.
Yeah, I saw that.
I go to the day camp all the time, and very rarely do I even bring a camera with me. If I see something interesting, I might shoot it on my phone or something. But just to go out there purposely to make a video, everybody's seen all that stuff already, right? It's all been done. So
yeah, that's very true.
Now I do the show and shoot the odd video here and there, and that's about it. So, night, Martin.
Good night, Martin. Well, you clearly you've thrown all your effort into the show, and I would like to be in the same position. I really have to wait till my kids are more self-propelled before I can, though. Like I'm really stuck until then. So, I used to beat myself up over not having like an interview or a panel discussion every week. But you know what? At one point, my kids are going to be old enough that I'm not doing bedtimes and this and that. And then, hey, Austin's here. How's it going, Austin?
Yeah. Like I say, I don't go on to a lot of live streams anymore. I try to come onto your stream all the time after mine if I'm done the green room early enough. Mm-hmm. Russell, I'm always on his on Friday nights. I might not comment, but I'm always sitting there having a cocktail and just sort of watching the the features.
You're having a canoe hound cocktail, of course, right?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I had one the other night.
Did you?
Yeah, I got to use up that. What's that?
The mead?
No, not the mead. The red stuff. Yeah. I forget the name of it.
What's a canoe hound cocktail?
Oh, Jess invented a drink for me.
Yeah, I invented a drink for Dennis, and then he turned around and changed one ingredient, and then I tried it and like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
so I don't do my version anymore. In fact, I redid the video with your with the meat instead of the
honey syrup. Yeah.
So what's in it?
Well, you know what? I've had 3 scotches, so I can't bloody remember. But it's based on bourbon. There's bourbon. There's mead. Is it ginger ale or is it tonic?
Tonic. I'm trying to think of that it's not a bitter. What's that? I can never remember the name of stuff.
It's not the vermouth.
No,
it's
no.
It's not Campari, but
Sorrel or something.
It's Campari Light. Aperol.
Aperol, that's it. Yeah, the Aperol. Yeah, so it's a shot of bourbon, half a shot of Aperol, half a shot of the mead.
Yep.
With some lemon or not lemon, orange slices into it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's good. It's got a bit of bitterness to it, which I like.
Yeah.
And tonic, right?
Yep.
And tonic water. Your top of tonic.
Water, yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd show you the video where I did it, but you don't watch my videos, so what's the point?
Hold
on. I got a violin here. Let me.
There we go.
Make it a tiny one.
I don't watch it. Sorry, Jess, it's nothing to do with you. I don't watch anybody's videos. I'm subscribed to 100 different people, and I never watch any videos. My latest thing on YouTube is the cube compilations. And I don't even know what cube is, but
What the hell's the cube compilation?
Cube compilations. But it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like TikTok compilations. I don't know.
Here we go.
He's got the little violin.
Can you actually play it, or is it just?
Nah, it's a little too small. Yeah.
G'day, Simon. Oh, there's Weblord. Hey, Weblord.
Weblord? Oh yeah. Hey there, Weblord. Showing up for the last 3 minutes of the live stream. Good night, Alain.
You know what the StreamYard really needs to do is they need to put it so that we could actually drop comments in the chat.
Yes.
What a pain in the behind that is.
Drop comments in the chat?
mean, we can. It's just.
Well, you have to do it through YouTube. You can't do it through StreamYard.
Well, what you can't do through StreamYard is you can't tag someone you're dropping the comment to.
Right.
That's what it's like. I just want to say Austin went for a canoe outing this evening after work, paddled in about an hour ago. Well, I'm not envious at all.
I just posted the link to Jess's video making a canoe hound. I'm not sure if that's the first one or the second one, but the recipe's in the description.
Let me just take a look at that. Man, I clicked on the link and the first thing is that Dr. Squatch ad. You're not a dish, smash. You're a man. Shut up, Dr. Squatch.
I still don't get what you're saying. You can't drop comments in chat.
In StreamYard, you like if you're a guest, if you're running the StreamYard, you can put comments in the chat through StreamYard. But if you are a guest on StreamYard, like we are, like you and I are on Justice here, you can't make any comments in the chat. You have to go through YouTube to do it.
Well, that's what I'm doing anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I got YouTube chat right up against StreamYard.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first iteration of the canoe hound, Dennis. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah.
Without your improvement on my.
Okay, so I'll.
I'm gonna have to make another one of those this week.
I'm gonna watch this. You know. I know that's weird. You know what you're saying earlier about can we go back a bit?
Yeah.
You're talking about whether or not you want to are you planning when your kids are older and you've got more time on your hands, are you planning on making a real go of YouTube?
When my kids are self-propelled, they will probably never see me because I'm going to spend all my freaking time in the forest.
I didn't answer my question at all.
Yeah, I would like to make a bigger go of YouTube, but like I know that I'm not going to be Joe Robinette. If YouTube can buy me a camera, that'll be a plus.
We've all said that.
Yeah.
It's one of the stages of being a YouTube creator. Is one of those stages in there is if I could just get YouTube to pay for my equipment, I'd be so happy.
Yeah, because like I can't, especially this year, man, because I'm not gigging, right? There's no music incoming into this house. There's no music incoming into this house. There's something wrong in that sentence. There's no music income coming into this house. I knew I was going to get it. And that's like where I usually get my play money from, right? Because the work money sort of goes into bills, and that's about it.
Good night, Chris. Good night, Mark.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Weblord says he was too busy watching old Raspberry Rock videos to get here sooner. Okay, fair enough. Good night, Chris Garland. Have a good night. Look, the dream would be to do this as my profession, but I have to be realistic. I have a mortgage and 2 children, and I work long hours. I don't always work long hours. This past week, I've been working really long hours because I'm documenting something that will be going live in early May, and I can't. It's like I can't talk about it, but it's a multi-bazillion-dollar project, and it's gated by my documentation. So I've been working some long-ass hours. But generally, what takes up the hours is the fact that my wife works very, very long hours. I sort of half-jokingly on the last live stream said that, she comes crashing in the door at 8 o'clock saying, "Woo, I beat the curfew." But I mean, no, that's what happens,
Live stream.
So it's, I feel that once the kids are not in need of parental, everything, I think that I'll have a little more freedom. Good night, Dauber.
You know what, Jess? I think there's 3 things that make a successful YouTuber. Not that I'm a successful YouTuber and that I have any special knowledge. This is just my opinion, but 3 things. I don't know, maybe it's not 3 things, but it's like always improving your videos, always improving your thumbnails, and being a character that people want to watch. And that third one is, I don't like putting it out there but I've seen so many YouTube channels where people put together videos and they're really trying hard, but that third thing, they're awkward on screen. They're not to say that everybody is kind of always going to be like that. I mean, sometimes, in fact, a lot of the times, it's just figuring out who you are and what you want to do on screen.
Yeah.
Right. I spent a long time just filming myself doing stuff, and then I just started being myself, and people really reacted to it. And I think, but that's
it's funny because a lot of the videos I like best are I like when Dennis was making videos. I like Dennis's stuff. I like your stuff. I even like Sean James's stuff because I like people who don't click the camera on and then suddenly get into their, this is my production voice. This is my on-screen persona. Hi. I don't go into that. It's the same reason I freaking hate pop radio, like top 40 radio. Like someone can be like, oh God, I don't feel well today, and this is me in real life, and then they click on the microphone, and suddenly they're, hey, Montreal, how's it going? Hey, how's that traffic? I'll tell you what, I don't like the traffic. Hey, the traffic took me a long time to get into work today, but that's okay because I'm here now, and I got a lot of jokes to tell you, and it's 6 a.m., and these other two fuckers are going to put on this forced laughter at everything I say. Good morning. And it's like,
I've
radio voice.
I've seen some gaming channels like that lately. Some 17-year-old going, okay, and when you play Minecraft, here's what you gotta do. You gotta go and mine some stone for this next project. Yeah, you're gonna go and do that. I'm like,
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't have the patience for it.
YouTube, how are you doing today?
Jesus, just stop.
just give it a break.
No, but you can look at guys like Joe Robinette, whoever it is, who basically does the same thing every time he goes out. But he's a real character, right? He's very personable, and people like him,
and he's not putting radio voice on.
He's not, yeah.
And that's my big thing. I don't want to hear your radio voice. I don't want you to be a thespian. Hey,
he's a naturally fun guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's using his real voice. He's doing interesting stuff, and I don't want that. Hey, how are you doing? It's like, shut up.
How you doing? Hey.
No, I don't want to hear it.
Up for the lovely Lola.
Dennis, I haven't seen any of your videos yet, but tell it what voice do you use in your videos? Make it good.
You're hearing it, man. You're hearing it. No, I don't do any of that. I feel awkward enough just talking to a camera when I'm out there shooting a video or something, right? So,
Dennis, have you ever seen my very first video?
I don't recall. I don't know. I may have to go back and I know that was back when you had hair, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was. Well, thank you for bringing that up.
Style, that is, right?
7 years ago.
It's okay. My first video, I had more hair than this too. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I was awkward, man. My first couple of videos, I was awkward, especially the first one. And it's funny because actually, technically, my first video, I think I put it on YouTube.
Holy shit!
To celebrate my 5 years of being on YouTube or something. And what I was doing was in that video, I was just shaving with my tiny axe, my little Wetterlings. But my first YouTube video was a review of the flint and steel kit that you could buy at Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company. Yep. Now they have 2 sizes of it. And that video is actually on the website for that product, on the webpage at Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company for that product. Oh, okay. But I was so awkward in front of the camera, sitting there and not comfortable and high camera. It's me.
And you had hair.
And I had hair, and it was like, and I'm going to try this stuff. Let me see if I can find it.
I got it here. I'm looking at it.
Do you? Episode 1?
Yeah, episode 1.
Yeah.
August 12th, 2013.
Yep.
I'm not watching it. I'm just kind of.
Yeah, because you're not going to watch it.
Yeah, Russell's not going to watch one of your videos.
No, he doesn't watch videos.
That's part of it, though. It just getting yourself comfortable in front of a camera, right? Like my first 12 videos, I'm just walking around with my phone, and just yakking.
Yeah.
And it's like it took me a long time to figure out what. Just to be myself and just show everything. But
how did you get started at this, Russell? You just one day pick up and say, "Hey, I want to be a YouTuber."
Well, I had 2 reasons to start. The main reason was, I have this beautiful location and I just wanted to share it with people. That was the main reason I started. And then the second reason was knowing that my primary source of income will end one day. I wanted to kind of try to make up for it with some YouTube income. But that's, when you're starting a YouTube channel, that's really a pipe dream, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels that way. It feels that way. And I'm worried about, last time, Russell, you and Mal and I were talking, she was mentioning that apparently YouTube is going to move the goalposts on us in June again. So I'm afraid of that. I haven't found anything about it. I just, by the way, for those of you who are interested, I just put the link to episode 1 of Dense Bushcraft in the side chat.
I keep asking for evidence of this change.
Yeah, I hope they don't.
What'd you say it was 4,000 subscribers?
No, it's 4,000 watch hours in 365 days and 1,000 subs.
No. What are the new goalposts?
I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't found anything about it.
Anybody? Weblord.
I haven't heard anything. All I know is they just had announced all this HST stuff and everything.
Weblord, use some Google food
Did they?
and find that for us.
Yeah.
What's
For
that?
monetized channels, you have to provide them with your HST number if you have one or something. I don't know. I got to talk.
Yeah.
Well, you should only have to do that if you're making over 30 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just like you're running a regular business or something, eh? But
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think my measly $200 or $300 a month is going to hurt anything, right?
Yeah. In fact, I closed my business number because I had a business number because, freelancer for 20 years. 20 years. I'm an old guy. Jesus, when you say it with words, that kind of makes it bigger somehow. But anyways,
Well, how old are you, Jeff?
Jesus.
me? I'm 48.
48? Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to tell you my age because as a man, I don't think you should.
Well, some people don't want to get personal.
No, I'm not. I'm not worried about my age.
So you close your business down?
Yeah, I realized that as someone with a mortgage and kids, freelancing that wasn't the way that I was going to be making my living. Because also, man, I worked in publishing. Okay, if you want to see a business go down the tubes, publishing is where it's at.
Oh, print.
Yeah. Everyone was trying to go digital and doing it the absolute worst way possible. Yes, we're going to cut our editing staff. No, idiot. Going digital means you cut the printing costs.
That's my God, a bit of a segue here, but when I watch Kitchen Nightmares, I guess Gordon Ramsay, he goes into all these failing restaurants, and it's like something's not working right. They're not getting as many customers. Hey, let's cut the quality of the food because we need to save money.
Excellent idea.
It's the same thing, right? Let's cook this and freeze it, and then when somebody orders it, we'll just microwave it and hand it to them. That's going to be similar to that situation you're talking about. Let's cut the editors. Let's cut the writers.
Cut the writers. Cut the writers. For God's sakes, don't cut the marketing staff. Stupid. Oh well. We're at 12 minutes past. Let's go to 23:15. Cut it on the quarter hour.
I was going to say you're way into overtime, eh?
Yeah. I'm way into overtime, and I'm sleeping early. Doctor's orders, but we're having a good time here. Well, I'm having a good time here. I don't know about you guys, but just fake it if you're not.
I'm drinking, so I'm okay.
Hey, what's in the raspberry or the raspberry rock shot there that you guys do? I know you say it's in the description, but what do you put in it?
I'm so glad you asked. Raspberry rock shot is 1 part lime cordial, 1 part Cointreau.
Yes, Weblord, you're right.
Marnier. And 1 part raspberry liqueur. Did I spell that right? So it's a bit of a sleuthing exercise to find all these things. And I guess you guys can't get lime cordial in Quebec.
Oh yeah, roses? Hell yeah.
Oh, you can. Like every single Friday, somebody's like, "Oh, we can't get this in Quebec."
Oh, maybe you can't anymore, but I used to be able to get it. Shite, really? That stuff's delish.
Is that from the liquor store?
No, grocery store.
No.
Oh, okay.
In the drink mix section of your grocery store, where you also get grenadine and margarita mix,
Cotton paste.
And I'm not just saying it's awesome because it's Raspberry Rock Shot. I'm saying it's awesome because it's freaking awesome. It's really, and it's not even that strong because there's no alcohol in the lime cordial. There's only 20% in the Cointreau. Well, if you use Grand Marnier, I think it's 40%, or is it? And it's 20% in the raspberry liqueur, so it's not that strong. You can do them all night.
And some people do. That's the thing about liqueurs and stuff, that you can really play with the alcohol content. Like a whiskey has to be 40% or more by law, right? 39%, it's not whiskey anymore.
Right, Tenenbaum. Take care, buddy.
All right, see you later, Tenenbaum. Well, good morning, actually, to Tenenbaum.
Yeah, true.
In a big, big way.
He's in Sweden, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So 1 part lime cordial, 1 part Cointreau, and 1 part raspberry liqueur.
You can also make it like a cocktail. You just do a shot of lime cordial, a shot of Cointreau, and a shot of raspberry liqueur. Put some ice in it.
But why lime cordial instead of like a fresh squeezed lime juice kind of deal?
Too strong.
Too strong. Yeah, that's true.
A weaker lime taste, and it's sweetened. So you get the sweetness from the lime cordial, and you get the bit of sourness from the raspberry liqueur. Or is it the other way around? It might be the other way around. Anyway, it's all good.
All right. Now it's 11:16. So I guess let's cut it there.
Go to 11:20, 11:30.
Midnight. Let's go straight on till 2. Jesse gets
Are
fired for buggering it up at work.
we taking bids? Because I'll bid 11:30.
Okay, let's go to 11:30. But after that, we really have to close it down.
Jess, if you're having a good time, it's good for your soul.
It is good for the soul. It really is. I've been running on stress lately, so it's nice to be enjoying an evening instead of looking at my work computer again.
I'd like to. Ouch! I'm gonna sliver that. I'd like to, not in public, but I'd like to ask you about the kind of technical documentation you're doing, because that's one of the things I've done before.
Oh, yeah?
Good night, Weblord. Yeah,
Hey, Weblord. Nice to see you.
Technical documentation is something I'm good at, but I'm not sure I ever really enjoyed doing.
It's after spending as long as I did in editorial, like I worked for 5 years at Reader's Digest as an editor. I worked for 10 years at a magazine called Lulu. It was a women's magazine made here in Canada. It was one of those that, you're waiting in line at the supermarket, and it's one of those that is sort of next to the cash, right?
Yep.
Technical documentation is a completely different skill set than editorial or marketing writing. Absolutely. So it took me a long time to really adjust into the tech writing style.
Yeah.
But, I've got a good solid job and it pays money, and, everything I do is top secret, but,
it's one of those things where if you can really tell the difference between bad technical writing and good technical writing. There's
Yep. And before this job, I was a bad technical writer, and I recognize it now, and I kind of cringe at some of the stuff that I generated in the past,
There's a very thick line between the two. There isn't a thin line. It's
a brick wall. I love Grace Martin says, Jesse breaking the rules, because we're going on till 11:30.
I used to do technical writing for pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
And there it was all validation. It's like you have to prove that this piece of equipment does what it's supposed to do, like all the functions on it do what it's supposed to do, and then it's installed the way it's supposed to be installed, and then it performs the way it's supposed to be performed. And then in the greater scheme of making drugs and stuff, it works the whole process as
right.
Really mind-numbing stuff.
Well, technical writing is not it's not a passion thing, Like it's not like poetry or songwriting where you're pouring yourself in. If you pour yourself in, chances are you're not doing a good job.
Yeah.
Weblord says being a programmer is an art, converting the technical to the regular Joe user. I appreciate those that do. I have to do it in real time talking to execs. Oh, that must be tough. The company I work for is the CEO is a former engineer. Well, no, he still is an engineer, which is nice because it's when your executives are coming through the MBA class rather than the editorial or the or the code cowboys. That's when it gets really awkward.
Yeah, I've seen CEOs who were where they were just because of who they knew.
Yeah,
and not just who they. Well, I mean, they were really good at political
machinations,
political elbow rubbing.
Mm-hmm. Glad handing, stuff like that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Couldn't care less if you were selling watermelons, so long as you were selling.
Yeah.
That's the way I say it. But yeah. But you don't have to work at all, except for on the house. Yeah.
Well, my primary income right now is a solar power investment, which ends when I'm 64.
Wait, it ends when you're 64?
Yeah.
Why?
Contract with the government. 20-year contract with the government. It's a coincidence that it ends when I'm 64, but so we have a 20-year contract to sell electricity to the government, and when the contract's done, it's done. That's it.
I get it. Okay.
So I got a little bit of time. I'm 52 this year, so I got 12 years to build up my YouTube income to replace that.
Right.
Which shouldn't be hard because it's not a lot of income.
Right. But where you live, you don't need a whole lot of money. Right?
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
It's pretty cheap living like this. Pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap, but a lot more work too, right? Being self-sufficient out there, you're doing your own thing, right? So,
I'm not self-sufficient. I go to the grocery store every week, just like everybody else.
well, I didn't mean it that way. I meant like you're doing your stuff for you out there, right? So
it's certainly not. It's not like I live in a condo. I it takes me several weeks to bring in enough firewood for the next winter, kind of thing.
Not true. I seen your video the other day. You're a magician, man. That pile went poof.
They'll just edit it in post.
See, I admit it right there. I actually watched one of your videos.
No, well, see, I appreciate that. I appreciate it, but it's different times of the year that I'm out there doing firewood, right? I might be out in the fall cutting down trees. Over the winter, I'm hauling trees across the pond.
Yeah.
The work I'm doing right now is just kind of like splitting it and stacking it.
Yeah. And what are you saving the sawdust for?
Compost toilet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I got quite a bit of sawdust this year. It's been great. Usually I don't do it for like every tree I'm cutting up, but the big thick ones, you just generate so much sawdust from those. It's wonderful. And then you should see me like in past years in like May, June when I'm trying to collect sawdust and all the plant growth has come up and there's ferns everywhere and I'm trying to get that plastic down.
Yeah, it holds it up.
It's like, God damn it. Stay down.
Right. Grace is saying, Russell, that sounds pretty good to me.
Which part?
I don't know. Sounds like a...
I gotta see a man about a hearse. Don't nobody go nowhere.
I do believe that was a metaphor. It's okay, Russell. There's 6 minutes.
Russell will always on his live streams. He disappears out the door. He's hanging a rat over the side of the deck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So how you been doing, Jess? Haven't seen too much of you lately. There, you've been feeling better? Or?
I'm doing all right. As I was saying earlier, I've got about a 6-month recovery ahead of me.
Yeah.
So but that's what I got to do.
Take it easy, man.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Hey, although hilariously, 3 weeks ago I weighed myself and I was 199 pounds. Today I'm 185.4. So obviously I'm doing something right here.
Mm-hmm.
But
Gosh,
Weblord.
I'm gonna try that, man. I'm uncomfortably at like almost 230 right now. It's like that's not like me. Yeah.
Well, you're a lot taller than I am, though. I'm 5'7", so for me, 199 is chubby business.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
you're tall.
6'1", but 230 pounds is for me. I'm usually down around 205, but I haven't been on my bike lately, so I gotta get back on the mountain bike, and that'll just melt the butter right off me, right? So,
are we comparing weights? Because I'm gonna win this game.
What? Are you?
How tall are you, Dennis?
6'1", 6'1" and a half.
Okay. So I'm 6 feet and I'm 212.
Yeah. Well, so you're a lean, mean machine there. Holy crap! Like I say, I'm tipping 230. So.
Well, this one. Okay, the funny thing is, when you're 20 and you're like that kind of balance, you're like it's a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
But as you get older, it's like, where's the muscle, man?
Somewhere.
I had the ultimate slap in the face the other day. My daughter and her boyfriend come over, and he's got a son that's about 7 years old, mildly autistic, right? And they're getting ready to leave the house, and it's like, Mason, come on over, give me a hug, right, before you leave. And he comes over and gives me a hug, and he looks up at me, he goes, "Are you having a baby?"
Ah.
I go, "Shut up, you got a big mouth, get out of here." Yeah.
Ejection.
I realized, maybe I got to get back on the bike again, right? But little bugger.
But the biggest difference, Dennis, for me was that, first of all, my entire problem is COVID related because I was biking to work, right? 16 Ks that way, 16 Ks home every day and everything until COVID hit. And now I've been sitting on my arse getting fatter and fatter. But I got depressed, and it's just easier to put chicken nuggets in the oven for the kids and myself and everything. But I stopped eating crap. Like the night that I was spending my scary night Thursday at the hospital, I came home and immediately went from like 6 cups of tea a day to that day 1 cup of tea. That day, no more chips. That day, no more muffins. No more. What the hell are barres tendres in English? Those little bars of granola bars.
Granola bars.
No granola bars. Cutting
granola bars.
Wow, they're about as good for you as chocolate bars in terms of fat and stuff. But that's the big change. And walking every lunchtime as soon as I'm done lunch, kind of thing. Those are the only changes I've made so far. And I've gone from 199 to 185.4. Russell, what the hell are you doing?
I'm trying to get the tab off this can. I got it.
Okay. Newcastle, nice.
Yeah, ever since I started taking the tabs off the top, my drinking experience has been so much more fulfilling.
I'm sure it is. Get rid of the excess weight, right?
I was this was my first tip of the night. You've seen this before.
Yeah. Get it done. Get it the fuck in you. Is that a coffee stout, I guess?
No, it's an IPA.
Really?
Yeah, it's just an IPA. Local brew house.
Nice. Good old IPA. I cannot do IPA, man. I'm into stouts. I'm into brown.
Some are pretty harsh, but I like my IPAs. I like a beer of flavor. This company's also got one's called Duck Juice.
Okay.
It's got like hints of pineapple and stuff in it. Like you don't taste pineapple, but it's got those notes, right? Mm-hmm. And it's actually I just discovered that last time I went and bought all this. I bought a couple cans to try it, and it's like, wow, that's good stuff, man.
I'm with Jess. I don't want any citrus fruit in my beer. That's
Yeah, I like the coffee notes and the
coffee, chocolate. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's what I like. Caramel, yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's why they make so many different flavors, right? Different strokes,
Yep.
folks.
Yeah, no, that's true. And so many microbrews hang their reputation on their IPA, right? Because that's sort of the big, that's the one everyone's hanging their identities on.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, it's 11:30. Absolutely gonna cut it there. I gotta go to bed.
Yep.
Gotta be at bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to drop my kids off before work tomorrow. So I'm gonna go to bed. The rest of you don't have to go to bed, but you can't stay here. So between now and next week, everybody, please stay healthy, stay safe, stay sane, and be kind to each other. Thank you to Russell and Dennis for hanging out with me to the bitter end. Bye, everyone. You gonna give them a peace soup?
Catch you later.
peace.